Hi, I'm Katie Hacker, your host. Great projects begin with basic design principles. Take a look at this color block necklace. I love this design because it's so simple to create, but it creates a big impact when you're wearing it. The two beads with that frosty finish and these colors just look so pretty together. And the whole secret is that the side sections stay the same length on all the strands, but the middle section gets an extra bead on each strand. So that creates that fan shape in the center. This is a really great look that you're going to love to make. So the way you begin is by stringing your beads onto a piece of beading wire. And you can see that I have only 5 green beads here in the center. Okay, so this is the section where on each successive strand, we're going to add a bead. So each one will have one more green bead. You can see my row of strands already laid out here. The basic technique is crimping. So what you'll do is I'll remove this. These are just to hold my beads in place while I'm working. And I'm going to use a crimp tube here. And this time I'm going to crimp onto a jump ring. And I usually don't do that. I usually just crimp directly to the clasp. But in this case, the jump rings make your job a lot easier. So what you'll do is fold your beading wire back into the crimp tube, and you want to make that pretty snug against the crimp tube there, but or the jump ring, and you should have a little bit of movement there. Use your crimping tool to make a crease in the crimp tube. Okay, so you can see it's got a little crease in the center there. Now, when people have problems with crimping, it's very often that this portion right here isn't crimped all the way. And if your wires are exiting parallel from the crimp bead or tube, then you can make sure that it's going to work. And you want to make that crease as deep as possible there, so that's a really hard squeeze with the tool. Now you're just going to fold it in half. And this is more of a gentle movement here. You just squeeze it together, and that makes it round, and it folds the wires toward each other without crushing them inside the crimp. Okay, so now, ordinarily, I just trim away this extra. Some people thread that back through the first few beads, but I always feel like that works its way out and can cause some snags. So then you're going to slide your beads down, and we'll just do that same process again. So you can see this crimping one more time. You'll slide your crimp tube onto the wire, attach your jump ring, and then pass it through. And make sure that you don't make this too tight, because if the strand is very tight, then it's not going to have that nice drape that we're looking for. You want to have a little bit of play with the beads and your necklace. So again, you'll use your crimping tool, use the center. This is a slightly different crimping tool. It's called the dual crimper because it can crimp different sizes in one tool. So you do the middle one to crease your crimp, and then you do the outer one to fold it in half, like that. And then you'll crimp away, or clip away, this extra wire. Okay, so this is our first strand. You can see they're all in increasing order here. I love this chunky chain, and it's unsoldered, so that's why we need those jump rings. And this makes it really easy to assemble. All I've done is opened up my links on the chain, and I'm going to slide these rings right on to the links. And you'll just do it in order of the length of the wires. And these wires are ranging from 10 inches all the way up to 18 inches. So I usually cut wires that are at least an inch longer than what I want the finished length to be. And of course, you could do this with other shapes of beads. It would look really pretty with rounds. You could do it with bicones. It would be great with faceted beads. There are so many different ways that you could use this technique and get different looks just by changing the beads. So we would slide all of these onto our link, and this creates one side of the necklace. Now, to close this, you can use your chain nose pliers to bring these ends back together. Now, I probably would recommend just doing one at a time. And you're going to hold it in your pliers, and as you close it, you're going to just turn it a little bit so that it's work hardening the metal also. And you want that to stay closed and be very secure on both, and you'll repeat this process on both sides. Make sure that's very close. So you can see what kind of drape we have here. And it's going to look great. You rearrange your strand. You can arrange your strands with the shorter at the top, longer at the bottom. And then you're going to repeat the same process on the other side to slide all of those jump rings onto it. Take a look at the finished one. You'll see again how pretty that looks with that fan shape right there in the center. Love the color of these beads, and this could go a lot of different ways depending on the beads you choose.